It's going to be really good.
But speaking of Dennis Smith, LeBron James had made some comments the other day. He wanted to take a shot at Phil Jackson by saying that the Knicks, as in Phil Jackson, should have selected Dennis Smith with the 8th pick last year. LeBron made it very clear he felt like the Knicks made a mistake, as in Phil Jackson made a mistake. I love LeBron as a player. I love LeBron as a leader. I think LeBron is he's the first player that has matched the hype coming into the league, and he's had the most hype as a draft pick coming into the league. But LeBron is not a GM. LeBron has proven over and over he's not pretty smart with the moves that he makes. So in that regard, I feel like LeBron James is, because he's that great, he feels like it's okay for him to have his opinion on what player would be a best fit in what situation. And I remember LeBron tweeting a few years ago that Shane Napier was the best point guard in the draft. Like, Shane Napier had a great college career. He came under Kemba Walker at UConn and actually won a championship there. But Napier, what has he done in the league since he's been drafted? For LeBron to say he was the best point guard in the draft, I believe that was 2015. He still hasn't cracked the starting rotation. So now LeBron to reverse back and now say, oh, Dennis Smith is as talented as anybody in the draft. Yeah, maybe he is, because you train with him, LeBron. But to say that he fits for the Knicks, no, he doesn't. Not even close to. The Knicks' biggest problem coming into this year was defense. Frank Ntilikina was the best defensive prospect in the draft. How can you say Dennis Smith makes more sense than Frank Ntilikina?
I think the biggest was defense and ball movement.
Correct.
And Frank Ntilikina helps in both aspects.
Correct. He's already, I believe, is 4th in the league in assists per 48. He's a 3rd in rookies in assists already.
Yeah, for him to say, I guess as far as a scoring sense, I guess Dennis Smith would be a better option for any team.
For sure.
But I think he almost takes it for his team. He needs a scorer for his team. He always likes a scorer in his team.
He needs that Isaiah Thomas.
He needs that Isaiah Thomas, who won't be back until January. But this is the reason why you're not the GM, because I guess you was willing for that trade for Kyrie.
And if we even look at some of the things that LeBron has promoted, so he made the Cavs re-sign J.R. Smith. He's made the Cavs go out and get players that maybe have worked, maybe haven't worked so well for the Cavs.
Like Jefferson. But who? K-Love?
I mean, I love K-Love. I think he's a little underrated.
I love K-Love in Minnesota.
Yeah,
I guess in this team he doesn't really fall into place that well because
he got to go to Chris Bosh route.
You
got to take that out a little bit.
You got to take that out super bit.
You got to take that sacrifice.
Yeah, but I guess LeBron James is like. But then again, like this, we always speak like certain players should stay. They play where they are. Like LeBron James and Chris Paul, they're head of the union. I don't think you should be head of the union.
I don't think that here because you're still playing.
You're still playing.
So
you're biased in the whole situation. So I don't think you really help the situation.
I think that's a bad business move.
So same thing. Like, I don't think you should be talking about how can you say who is better in only the first 15 games of the season.
Think about it.
Don't you need to get at least 2-3 years in to really be like, oh, okay, who actually panned out better?
Or to say that he's a better fit. You're automatically saying that Ntilikina is failing with the Knicks.
That's interesting. Very interesting. And then you're going to say that I'm not insulting the player. Well, that's the player they picked, and he is a player that's currently there. If you're saying that they should have picked someone else, you're obviously going after the player.
Like, LeBron. So then, LeBron's...
So who does he say who Ntilikina should have went to? He doesn't say, oh,
the Mavericks?
Should have took him. They didn't say that.
No, not at all. So, and then again, there was 8 teams that passed on Dennis Smith. Not just the Knicks. So why are you just going at the Knicks?
8 struggling teams that passed.
Alright, so now, the next side of it is, I don't know if LeBron, realizes it, he pays, complete attention to it. So, he says that his biggest gripe with New York and Phil Jackson was how he treated Carmelo Anthony. Now, I'm not too sure what LeBron means by that. I would really love for me and LeBron to have that conversation, but he probably wouldn't give me that time of day. But if somebody could ask LeBron, what does it mean by what Phil Jackson did to Carmelo Anthony? Like, I really want to know what fans mean when they say that now. I've heard Stephen A. say it. I've heard a lot of people say that Phil Jackson tried to rush Melo out of New York. Let's get on that real quick. So, Phil Jackson said, Carmelo's holding the ball too long. He's slowing up the offensive movement for the Knicks. That sounds about right. I think that's the same thing he said to Michael Jordan way back in the early 90s. He said that same thing to Shaq when they first started with the Lakers. And those players took the criticism, improved, and they became champions. Now, Carmelo, I guess, felt like that criticism was too much for him. Like, this is my game. This is how I play. But Phil Jackson has 11 rings. I'm pretty sure his criticisms are not to be disrespectful of Carmelo. And he, after that came out, several times he came out and said, we love Carmelo. We think Carmelo's a great player. But based on where Carmelo is in his career and what we're trying to build with KP, they might not match up. Like, where is that him treating Carmelo badly? Now we see Perry comes in. Perry trades Carmelo to the Thunder, where it's a better situation for Carmelo, where Carmelo doesn't have to be the main playmaker of the team anymore. He can now just be more of the hired assassin scorer that he is at this point in his career. I don't hear nobody saying, like, that's exactly what Phil was saying they needed to do. The Knicks needed to remove that to build around Porzingis.
It's just really pretty much, people just love to find a reason to blame anything on the Knicks. Because I didn't hear so much of this talking when George Karl traded him. When he called them a conundrum, a user of people.
None of that. I heard other players come out to Carmelo defend, like Kenyon Martin and J.R. Smith. But the pundits that continuously bash Phil Jackson for being the worst executive ever, like, I don't hear them saying the same things now that exactly what he said the Knicks needed to do, the Knicks did. And all I hear is people saying that, well, he never ever wanted Kristaps Porzingis. He was trying to trade Kristaps Porzingis. Well, let's answer that real quick. So, Phil Jackson is the president of the Knicks at that time. Meaning, any player that the Knicks sign, draft, or trade, he has to okay. Mm-hmm. It goes through him last before the deal gets done. So, that means that for Porzingis to be drafted, Phil had to okay that. Only Phil could have okayed that. Okay, back. For Porzingis to have been traded, Phil would have had to okay that. Porzingis is still on the Knicks roster. Therefore, if Phil wanted him traded, he would have had to okay that. So to say that he never even really wanted him, well, how are you to decide what he really wanted or not? Or you know how much Phil likes something or not? You can decide by what he's saying, whether 70% he wanted KP or 20% he wanted KP. But where are you coming in with these measurements? He never really wanted him anyway. He liked Okafor. He liked Russell. Well, yeah, they were great prospects also. Who didn't like them? Everybody in the top 5 liked those players. That's why those players were picked in the top 5.
But who matches for your team? That's all that matters.
And that, for instance, it's the whole Stephen A. Smith shit, right? Where he says, Phil made a mistake drafting Porzingis. He should have drafted Justice Winslow, or he should have drafted, who was the other player that said? It was Winslow and one other player that he should have chose over Porzingis. But Winslow was the main player that most people said he should have drafted. He was a star coming out of Duke. Very good player, but not for nothing. Justice Winslow is not even a starter with the Heat right now.
We're still waiting for Winslow.
Porzingis is a top 5 two-way player.
Matter of fact, Winslow looks really good in Summer League.
Correct. But now Stephen A. Smith said for sure Phil Jackson made a mistake in not drafting Winslow. Now 2 years later, the same Stephen A. Smith is saying for sure Phil made a mistake and drafted Dennis Smith Jr. over Frank Ntilikina, well, the way Stephen A. said, Frank Ntilikina. That's the way they say it. Well, you just made a mistake 2 years ago. Phil Jackson has 13 championships of basketball. He obviously knows talent when he sees it. If he says Frank Ntilikina is the better fit, after we saw Porzingis and Willie Hernangomez, should we now say, oh shit, he probably knows talent when he drafts it? No, we still bashing it. Now, we've seen 10 games already. Ntilikina is the best defensive player out of that draft, and yet we're saying, wow, the new Knicks are doing a good job. The new Knicks? Mm-hmm. Isn't that Phil's pick? Where you want to cut that off? The fact that they said that he picked him because he was a triangle fit is the reason that they shouldn't have picked him. Well, looking at it now, here's the thing though. The triangle offense requires you to be able to pass the ball, be able to shoot, to be able to read the defense. So if you're good enough with the triangle offense, you're a good enough player for any offense. I don't see why that concept is so hard for people to understand. Porzingis said he loved the triangle. Carmelo said no. People fell out. People don't remember that? Don't understand that? Carmelo never wanted to do the triangle offense. That's why him and Phil never agreed.
But my thing is, they make it seem like Porzingis came out of nowhere this year. not realizing that he was being held back last year with the presence of Carmelo Anthony.
And Derrick Rose, no disrespect.
Because their problem with the ball and not getting the ball to their best playmaker at the time. This guy's scoring is not brand new
at all.
It's not like he couldn't tower over everyone in the first place.
At all.
He couldn't shoot everyone in the first place.
At all.
But now he's getting the ball more after the trades, after the release of certain players to now let the team go revolve around him, which was officially initiated by Phil Jackson. But no one gets credit for it.
Correct.
Only aftermath.
Correct.
It's unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
But enough of that. Long story short, Keenan's having a very good rookie year, but so is Dennis Smith.
Yeah.
Dennis Smith is an average.
I think it's a lot of good, but I guess we'll see more. We'll see how. I think the best view of seeing how rookies perform is after All-Star break.
Yeah.
I think that's when you get to see how most teams perform after All-Star break.
Yeah.
Is when you really get to see.